October 1st is on Thursday, right? Okay, you've been sending in. I mean, I saw some names. I told you, like, I never knew they were
You're
like.
too young now. It's just like, you don't know those names.
There's some names that you look at, you and wondering, okay, who are these guys?
Yeah.
I mean, some guys have been sending some very, names that we can't really remember as far back as 1950 something. These guys won laurels for Nigeria. You know how to do it. Just send your message to us on our Twitter handle, channels_sports, and of course, we'll read it out. And of course, the ministry, I hope all of them are also checking out these names so that some of these names will not be left out. But out of the thousands or how many you guys are going to send, it's just 60 because that's to mark the Independence Day celebration. So as we look forward to celebrating it on Thursday, I mean, we want you guys to keep sending in some names and see if your name will be one of those.
We had some interesting names. And we
very.
had a couple of guys nominate Israel Adesanya as well too. I mean, that's a very, very legitimate nomination, if you ask me. I would add Kamara as well to that.
Then someone, I mean, Henry, I mean, he sent us an email. He mentioned Davidson and his brother Anthony, both in boxing. So I need to go find out those guys.
Yeah.
Who they are.
Interesting.
Okay.
Interesting. But the ministry will settle all of that. They will choose 60 to celebrate on
That's
October
what they
1st.
would do. Okay, we'll talk about the English Premier League now. But before we start, I mean, Bada Akintunde Johnson will be joining us because right there all the way from Lekki to join us, talk more about the English Premier League. Bada, good morning. It's good to have you join us again.
Morning, Cecilia. Always a pleasure, as I like to say. Morning, Tayo, as well.
Yeah,
I have a smile on my face, even though Arsenal lost.
I know why, because I mean it wasn't a woeful performance from Arsenal. I mean they took Liverpool on, and I love that. But let's get confirmation of the result. 2 games were played last night. You have Aston Villa and of course Fulham. Fulham is like they're just going down. No time to waste time for them. Confirmation that ended 3-0, and of course Liverpool and Arsenal 3-1. And before the game, Jurgen Klopp was saying that they've beaten them twice, back to back. They are not going to let it happened a third time. And they went straight to it. So let's focus on that one before we talk about the Aston Villa and Fulham game. For you, what actually stood out for that game between Liverpool and Arsenal, knowing that Arsenal actually scored first, and it was Lacazette who gave them the first goal? And while we were tweeting or trying to just celebrate Lacazette, I mean, it wasn't like a minute or less than Sadio Mane just like, okay, hold on first, let's see what's going to happen in this one.
I think that Liverpool fundamentally have, laid down the marker for how the season is going to go in terms of not relinquishing their title easily, if at all. I think that game yesterday showed a team that is progressive, a team that learns from its mistakes, because those 2 matches that you alluded to when Arsenal got the better of Liverpool actually dominated those games, created more chances, but Arsenal dug in and hit them on the counter. And in both games, Arsenal hurt them by playing out from the back. So what Liverpool did was to keep a higher intensity to their pressing and made it almost impossible for Arsenal to play out. And Arsenal kept making mistake after mistake. And had Liverpool capitalized on some of those mistakes, the scoreline would have been more emphatic. And then apart from the high press and the intensity of it, Liverpool were hurt down sides where Tierney in the cup semi-final.
Okay, I think
the league rather that Aubameyang tested and scored from. But yesterday they made sure that Arsenal's midfield was under constant pressure. That they couldn't look up. They didn't have time. They were heckled and hassled and harried every time they had the ball. And they just couldn't play out and couldn't get the supply to Aubameyang. Aubameyang was nothing more than a spectator all game. So I thought that yes, Arsenal scored first, but it was clearly against the run of play. Liverpool had all the possession, were creating all the chances, and maybe should have scored. Trent and Alexander-Arnold had hit the post. Leno had made some smart saves here and there. And Arsenal just hadn't mustered any attack of any form whatsoever up until that point when Robertson made a mistake and Alex Lacazette scored. But the way they came back showed you that that team has character in abundance. Straight away they hit back and didn't give Arsenal any opportunity to grow into the game and gain confidence from that goal that they scored. And from that point on, there was always going to be just one winner. But I think that in a bit of way, maybe a few tactical, errors from Arteta also played into Liverpool's hands. Personally, I thought that Arsenal's best defender so far, at least in the first 2 games, was the Brazilian Gabriel, the new guy they just bought. Why he didn't start him, I would never know. I thought Gabriel in the role that Tierney played as the third man in that back three, and then Tierney in Ainsley Maitland-Niles' position further forward would have kept both Salah and Trent Alexander-Arnold a lot busier further up the pitch and keeping the pressure slightly away from the penalty area for Arsenal. But that didn't happen, and Liverpool had a field day. Trent and Salah were just running rings around Tierney, and Maitland-Niles didn't provide support for him. Most of Liverpool's attack came from the right side, and Arteta just didn't respond early enough. Secondly, down the middle, he played El Neni and Xhaka, and those 2 guys always play it safe. They keep passing sideways. They don't take risks with their passing that much. But you could see the difference when Ceballos came in. That's one-on-one, the true ball in fact, both of them came from, Ceballos. And had he maybe started earlier, just that consciousness of the pass being on would have kept Liverpool at bay and kept them more alert. But since there was no threat down the middle, Liverpool put forward. They always had, the ball, and they always had the threat without any attention to the potential threats down their own, backline. So, long and short of it, Liverpool were deserved winners. There's no, there's no way you can. There's nowhere else or no other way you can dice or slice it. That you wouldn't say that Liverpool deserved their win. And like I said, looking at City losing so scandalously to Leicester last weekend, it tells you that something out of the ordinary has to happen. Chelsea has already lost and drawn. And you ask yourself, who is going to hunt down Liverpool this season? The guys you thought would be mounting a challenge are all floundering, are all falling by the wayside. Yes, I hear it's still early days, but this Liverpool team will take something special to stop. On the evidence of the first 3 weeks, I haven't seen that something special in this league.
We're going to talk about the second game of the night between Fulham and Aston Villa. Aston Villa going away from home to win by 3-0, and Fulham cannot seem to stop conceding goals and losing games at the moment. But for me, Emiliano Martinez, I have a few Arsenal fans that feel that prefer to have kept Martinez over Leno. Are you one of them? Do you just look over to Craven Cottage and you're a bit jealous that this guy is no longer the goalkeeper for the Arsenal?
I think Arsenal found themselves in a very tricky situation where Martinez, who was number 3, must be said at some point, for the most part of his career at Arsenal, came in for an injured Leno and was phenomenal, especially in the run to winning the FA Cup and the Community Shield. And then you had a situation on your hands where a player who had been with the club for 10 years was asking to be made number 1 or be let go. I don't think that many clubs in the top flight would have installed such a player as their number 1 straight away. I thought they would have wanted to keep both of them and have them go head to head and have, whoever came on top to man the post. And had it not been for his age, I think, and the fact that he's looking to cement his shirt in the Argentine or Argentinian national team, he would have stayed with that sort of situation. But he factored or figured that playing regular football was going to be key to his national career. So, and now that, the heroics from the FA Cup was still fresh on people's minds, he wanted to quickly, leverage that opportunity to be number 1 in a top flight team. And Aston Villa offered him that opportunity, offered to pay decent money, and off he went. I wouldn't sit here and blame Arsenal for not making him number 1 and making Leno number 2. You don't do that. No one does that. Dean Henderson, was almost in the same situation before the end of this, before the start of the new season. United gave him a new deal, but they didn't make him number 1. David De Gea is still number 1 until such a time when David De Gea gives the manager a reason to play Henderson Henderson cannot make such demands, and he's got to be content with playing cup games until there is a suspension or an injury or a total loss of form, or I mean a dip in form on the part of the gear. But the situation at Arsenal was Martinez was demanding to be made number one or be let go, and it made it almost impossible for Arsenal to keep him. So, but there's no doubt in the fact that
his quality.
He's got his qualities. Yeah, he's got his qualities. I thought that, I mean, had he been in goal yesterday, maybe he saves the first goal, where Leno parried into the path of Mane to tap in. He's more commanding in his area, but Leno is, I mean, the second choice for the German national team or third choice. He's a fantastic goalkeeper in his own right.
Of course.
They have they've got their own qualities here and there, but I think that Martinez has done the right thing for his career has kept two clean sheets now. Even though he's yet
to consider goal.
Some embarrassment. Yeah, he's yet to consider goal, but he was beset. He was fed some embarrassment yesterday when he dropped an absolute clanger. But because in the build-up there was a foul, the goal was rolled out rather. But he's a top quality goalkeeper. He even saved the penalty in the first game for Aston Villa. And that's what great goalkeepers do. They save you points. And Aston Villa will need all of those points because they seem to have some early momentum. But we know that it's not going to carry on like that. At some point, they're going to be, as they would like to say, water will find its level. And some of the points that they've won early on may prove very critical.
Okay. All right. Let's leave the English Premier League now. But staying with some of those teams in the English Premier League, talking about Carabao Cup,
game
of course.
Tonight,
Game tonight, Tottenham and Chelsea will be in action. I mean, Chelsea traveling to Tottenham Stadium to see if they can move to the next round of fixture of the Carabao Cup. But then Jose Mourinho has been talking about this game that, look, he's obviously going to prioritize the Europa League ahead of Carabao Cup. So the fact that he might just feature, well, there's some players you may never have seen before. Yeah, Europa, obviously, it's important for him. So we don't know what he's going to do today. No, but for you, Jose Mourinho, is it right to say that he wants to focus on a particular competition and leaving out the other one? Can he just go for all of them and try his luck if he can? I mean, you can't say he can win.
He's not realistic.
The fixture pile up.
Yeah, it's not realistic. Let's be very honest. They played on Sunday. They play again today, Tuesday. Then they play on Thursday, and then they play Sunday again. I mean that's a very punishing schedule they have right there, and you don't want to lose key players like Son, like Harry Kane, like Lamela. You don't want to lose them to injuries because of too many games they are playing. And like he quite rightly said, they need the money from the Europa League stages. So they need to finish the job. They won 2-1 in what was a very, very nervy game for them away from home. They were trailing 1-0 till the last 10 minutes when they scored 2 goals. So they need to finish the job off at home on Thursday, which is just 2 days after tonight's game, or 2 nights after tonight's game. That's too close, I mean, for any team to field the same first 11 from game to game. So he will play the kids, and I expect Chelsea to win very convincingly in tonight's match. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, then let's talk about Chelsea now, since you mentioned them already. I mean, everyone. I mean, it's been going on since last season. Kepa. Now there's a new goalkeeper in town, Edouard Mendy from Rennes. He's in town, he's in the squad to take on Chelsea. Lampard has refused to confirm whether he will start or not. But for Kepa, it was dropped for the last game. Of course, Chelsea still went on to concede 3 goals. So perhaps it's not down to Kepa alone. Perhaps there's a system problem there that Lampard has to fix. But for tonight, would you be surprised if Mendy starts, or do you think it's too early and Lampard should just stick with Kepa or Caballero?
I think that it might be a bit too early for Mendy to start on the one hand. On the other hand, if Frank Lampard sees him as his number one going forward, then why play him in a Carabao Cup game when there are bigger games to be played over the weekend? So if he's number one truly, we may not see him until the Premier League game next weekend, which I think is a big game they've got. I can't remember who they play now, but I think their weekend game is quite a big game. So we'll see what Frank Lampard's plan is like tonight. If he plays Kepa, that definitely confirms that Kepa is going to be the cup goalkeeper going forward. But if he starts with Mendy, it means Kepa maybe still has a chance to get back between the sticks, or maybe Caballero would continue. But you make a fantastic point. There is a fundamental system problem defensively.
Bada, let's get the concluding thoughts now of Bada. You listen to Lampard, you know, talking about Mendy and Chilwell, the new signing as well too. But we were talking before the break about the system issue that Chelsea seem to have. They've considered 6 goals already, you know, in this very early in the Premier League.
Well, I think fundamentally the centre of defence is a worry, which is why he's brought in Thiago Silva, who himself was guilty of gifting West Brom a goal over the weekend. Yeah, but then between Christensen and Zuma, who played more there, both of them don't actually inspire confidence. And we can see clearly now that Antonio Rudiger has fallen out of favour. There are talks that he might be leaving, and he might be heading to the French league, to PSG to be specific. But he needs to find his regular centre back pairing, and then build, you know, a system around them that means that they are not exposed time and again. N'Golo Kante used to shield that the defense very, very well, but now we're even hearing that N'Golo Kante might be moving on. So we really don't know what's going on that front. So, but tonight I think that they will do the business. They will beat Tottenham, like I said. I mean, not as badly as they beat Barnsley, but I expect them to win convincingly. Yeah, I expect them to win convincingly. But I think that the Carabao Cup might be a competition that Frank Lampard wants to prioritize, because he's in his second season. He spent a lot of money. I think that he can do with a piece of silverware. And if you look at the strength of that squad right now and the number of new players they have in, I don't think they're going to win the Premier League. I don't think they're going to win the Champions League. So they have to focus on the domestic cup competitions as their realistic opportunities for winning a trophy this year. So he can't take this for granted. He wins the League Cup, he wins the FA Cup, or either of those two, he can buy himself a bit more time to carry on with the work that he's doing. But if he doesn't prioritize it and plays kids and they lose out carelessly, I'm afraid for Frank Lampard's job.
Okay.
All right. So let's leave England now. Let's go to Barcelona. Let's go to Spain. Barcelona, dream debut, winning debut for new coach Ronald Koeman. That was against Villarreal, ended 4-0. And yeah, Ansu Fati was the star of the show. We also saw Messi scoring a penalty as well too. But I'll take your thoughts now after we listen to Ronald Koeman, what he had to say about the results of his first match in charge of Barcelona.
I wasn't sure about the final performance or the final result, because you have to know that Villarreal played already two official games for the league. Today it was our first, and I expected that the team was prepared to play on a good level against a good opponent. And I think, of course, the first half was unbelievable good. And with a score of 4 goals, I understand that the second half was a little bit less. We lost more balls than we did in the first half, but I think it was a great game and a great final result.
Yes, Ronald Koeman, they are obviously happy with the overall performance of Barca in that 4-0 win over Villarreal over the weekend. But Villarreal could have been a tricky matchup for Barcelona, considering all the issues that they've had coming into the season, but it ended up being a straightforward win for them. But I want you to talk about the Barcelona lineup and Ronald Koeman's decision to play certain players. For example, Antoine Griezmann led the attack now that Luis Suarez has been offloaded to Atletico Madrid. There's also Messi playing on the right side of the attack. Then you have Ansu Fati, the youngster, who I believe will go on to be a great player for Barcelona, playing on the left and scoring 2 goals. And there's also Busquets there, there's Frank de Jong, there's Felipe Coutinho, and this looks like a very good squad. So I don't understand why some Barca fans are coming into the season apprehensive, thinking they don't have enough quality.
Tayo, I can understand the apprehension. Barcelona never had a problem beating the likes of Villarreal under Setien and Valverde. They didn't have a problem beating those teams. Where they came on stock was against the big teams. And until they play one of those big teams, the jury is out. I thought, yes, they were impressive in the first half against Villarreal. They scored all the 4 goals in the first half. But you're looking at the Villarreal team that is much changed. A lot of newcomers into the team. I must say specifically that I was particularly disappointed with Samuel Chukwueze. I'm a big fan of the man, but he seems to have lost I don't know, some directness to his game. Very reluctant to take on and beat his man, even though was there for the time and again. He went always for the safe option, passing onto the inside for players who would then lose the possession and then he'll begin again. If there was a player who could have been an outlet for Villarreal, it was Chukwueze, and he never did. But back to Barcelona. Yes, they look good. They look very fluid and fluent in possession. They bossed the game, but the quality of the position wasn't top rated. And so I wouldn't say much about the change. It's too early, and like Koeman himself would admit, sterner tests are up ahead, but it was just good to see Messi, after all the drama of the close season, being so hungry, and being aggressive about his game and, playing like the normal Messi that we've always known.
Okay. All right, but I want to thank you so much, as usual, for breaking it down for us this morning. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, quickly, we'll just take 2 tweets, then before we go to the papers. Just take these 2 tweets. I mean, you have so many. Funke Oshinake, Bose Kafo, Kasali, Lasisi, Shegun Tiriola. This is coming from Waleb. And Bosun said there's no better time now to introduce Mendy when Spurs will be fielding a weak team to boost his confidence and ease him into the team. Point. I mean, Abolariwa says he thinks Serena Williams is going to go far. But however, young people are in the competition, and of course she had a lot of weight and cannot win again. Come on,
goodness
guys.
Gracious me. Okay. Olumide Ibikule as well, too, saying Austin JJ Okocha. I imagine that's for the 60 sports and icons.
Do we have time for the papers? I don't think so.
Not really.
Okay, now. Really? Okay. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Cecilia Mogbe. Do have a great day.
I'm Tayo Salam. Catch you again tomorrow. Bye for now.